Namaskar. I am Dr. Sapunti brings you The Viewpoint. A historic moment unfolded in global politics on June 18, 2026, as the United States and Iran officially signed a peace agreement after weeks of rising tensions and fears of a wider conflict in the Middle East. The agreement was signed electronically at approximately 10:30 a.m. Tehran time and 8 GMT and is being seen as the most significant breakthrough in US-Iran relations in years. The agreement was signed on behalf of the two governments by Donald Trump, the President of the United States, and Masoud Pezeshkian, the President of Iran. Senior diplomats and officials from both countries, along with mediators from Gulf states and Europe, were involved in drafting and finalizing the document. The signing was conducted remotely through a secure diplomatic process rather than through a traditional face-to-face ceremony. According to official announcements, the Memorandum of Understanding was finalized and electronically signed. The signing came after intensive negotiations that continued late into the night before both sides approved the final text. How was it signed? Unlike many historic peace treaties signed at a single location, this agreement was completed through a digital signature process. Here is how it reportedly happened. Negotiations finalized the 14-point document. The final text was transmitted to both capitals. President Trump and President Pezeshkian approved the text. Both leaders digitally signed the agreement through secure government communication systems. The signed copies were exchanged and officially acknowledged by mediators. This method allowed the agreement to be concluded quickly without requiring either leader to travel. What is the 14-point agreement? The agreement includes several important commitments. These are immediate de-escalation of military tensions, continuation of diplomatic negotiations, discussions of phase sanctions relief, security guarantees for shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, international monitoring mechanisms, a framework for a broader and permanent peace agreement. However, this is not a final peace treaty. It is an interim agreement designed to create a pathway toward a more comprehensive settlement. Despite signing the deal, Iranian officials immediately warned that the real challenge lies ahead. Their message was simple. The agreement has been signed. Now we must see whether it is implemented. Iran wants proof that economic sanctions will actually be erased. Iranian oil exports can increase. Future US administrations will respect the agreement. Washington will fulfill its commitments. That is why Tehran says, now comes the test. What would be the impact on the Strait of Hormuz? One of the biggest global concerns was the security of the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly a fifth of the world's seaborne oil trade passes through this narrow waterway. If the agreement holds, shipping routes remain open, oil supplies continue uninterrupted, energy markets become more stable, global economy uncertainty decreases. The peace agreement has already improved market sentiments and it has impact on oil prices. Reduced tensions generally mean lower geopolitical risk premiums, more stable oil supplies, potential downward pressure on crude oil prices. Energy traders will now focus on whether both countries honor their commitments over the next 60 days. What does it mean for India? India could be one of the major beneficiaries. If oil prices remain stable or decline, India's oil import bill could fall. Inflationary pressure could ease. The rupee may face less pressure. Petrol and diesel prices may eventually come down. However, domestic fuel prices will still depend on government taxes and decisions by oil companies. The peace agreement signed on June 18 by President Donald Trump and President Masoud Pezeshkian represents a major diplomatic breakthrough. But the hardest part begins now. The next 60 days will determine whether this agreement becomes a historic turning point in Middle Eastern politics or simply a temporary pause in tensions. As Tehran itself has warned, the signatures are on paper. Now comes the test, and the entire world will be watching. And that's all for now. Thank you.